Hi guys, welcome to Digital Dollars with Kripesh Advani. Today we have a very special guest all the way from Bulgaria. We have Vasi with us. She is a great digital marketer, public speaker, and brands with strategies to establish their presence online on the net. So over to you now, Vasi. Can you please give us a quick brief intro about who you are and what do you do?
Hi, Kripesh. First off, thank you for the invitation. I'm very excited to dive deeper into branding with you, and we can talk more about like the different components behind building a strong brand. Just a quick intro to me and my work. I've been working in marketing for more than 15 years now. My main focus has been in working in house with teams spanning across e commerce, SaaS, and B2B. And since 2019, I've struck out on my own. So I'm now functioning as an independent digital marketing consultant. And I'm mostly focused in two fields. One is content marketing, the other is brand messaging and building a brand through the power of words. So
Hmm.
this is sort of the quick gist of it. On top of that, I'm very involved with sharing what I know and helping people build better brands through my blog, speaking opportunities at different events, which is actually how me and you met. And then also running different trainings and education programs for companies and teams and everyone really who's interested in learning more about doing marketing right.
What was your biggest project that you did?
The biggest project, well,
Mhm.
I'll have to mention here for sure the last company where I served as an in-house marketer. They're
Hmm.
called Ehensive, and it started off as a resume building app, and now it has grown into something a bit bigger than that. So they also have consulting options, career advice, and so on. So it's all structured around helping you find a job that you'll be proud of, that you'll be excited about. And when I was part of the team back between 2016 and 2019, we already had about 500,000 registered users at the time. And
Mhm.
then we were focused mostly on the US and Western European market. So it was a great
Mhm.
project in the sense that, first off, it was a SaaS product, which is something I really
Hmm.
enjoy working on. And then also it was a company with a great mission that I truly believed in, which made work
Hmm.
that much more fun.
Can you share the some figures like before and after? Before, what were the figures before you joined, and what were the figures after that?
I have to say, during these 3 years, we had a pretty substantial growth. I can't really share like MRR numbers or anything
Hmm.
like that, but we were growing at a very steady clip. And by the time that, since I started to the time that I left, we had grown our user base around two and a half fold, if my memory serves me right. And ever since then, I'm obviously staying in touch with the team and the founders, and they've had a pretty good trajectory ever since then,
Hmm.
especially in these last few years where the market of talent and employer opportunities has been moving at a very steady clip, or rather a very dynamic clip even, with the new opportunities around working remotely and so on and so forth. So I'm pretty sure that even though I don't have specific numbers, they've been growing faster than that now.
So how did you get your clients?
So, since I've been in the marketing space for a while now, I've already had some people who are ready to jump at the opportunity of working with me when I announced that I'm moving freelance. But ever since then, the two main directions that I've had for finding new clients has been, one is word of mouth, which makes me very proud because that means I've been
Hmm.
doing a good job and people are eager to recommend me. And the other is building my personal brand as a marketing expert through mainly creating content online. So through my blog, being active on online communities, sharing what I know, and also participating in different types of events as an attendee, as a
Hmm.
speaker, as a panelist, as a workshop host, whatever. I'm
Hmm.
more than eager to do that and to meet up with people in real life as well.
Hmm. And talking about branding, how should a beginner go and create their brand?
Well, I'd say there are two things that you want to look into right from the start, right from the get go. One is to look externally, and the other one is to look inside. And here's what I mean by that. First off, making sure that you really know your ideal customer profile, understanding what they need and what they're interested in. This is a very big topic. And whenever I start working with a client, be it on personal branding, be it on building a brand in the digital space, a company, let's say, or a B2B agency or something like that, we always start off by making sure that we truly understand who our target audience is. And this can mean potential customers. It may mean if you're serving a B2B audience, sometimes you have a couple of different people involved in the whole conversation around getting your product and then using it in house. So you will have a buyer who may be different from the user. And then you may also want to think about all other types of stakeholders. Say, if you're communicating on a regular basis with the investors that you have, this is another target audience that you need to serve. If you're working with the media or with influencers, this is another
Mm.
audience that you need to take into account.
Mm.
So having that clear understanding is the first big prerequisite. And then when I say looking inward, I mean making sure that you understand how your strengths, how your benefits as a product or as the benefits of the
Mm.
service you provide, let's say, how they are serving your audience and what's the connection there. So we always talk about product market fit,
Mm.
and this is the branding equivalent of that. What are the key components of your brand that are your strengths and that will resonate with that target audience that you by now would have a good understanding of?
Let's say you recently worked with a SaaS company, and let's say we are having a SaaS product in SEO space, and we want to go branding, like we want to go big on branding now. So how should we do that?
So, first off, this is a very competitive niche. So, you need to make
Mm.
sure that what you're providing as a product is worth the time investment and the money investment from a potential client. But let's say we know that we have product market fit, we have defined
Mm.
that already. When you're starting off, you need to figure out who will be the different segments that you want to present your brand in front of. So let's say one of our focus uh, audiences might be technical SEO experts. So what you need to present to them would be a very clear understanding of what your product does, how that product can help them achieve their goals, and speaking to them would also involve going into the technical details of what your product does and what your brand is all about. So with them, you'll be making sure that you're building your brand from the perspective of, hey, we understand technical SEO really well. We are experts just like you. And this is why we can serve your needs better than other competitors. So you might want to present to them some thought leadership content. You might want to tell them, hey, we have experts in house who are working and living and breathing technical SEO day in and day out. Then, on the other hand, you might want to focus on, let's say, marketers like me who are more of who have a content focus or who are more of like a generalist who doesn't necessarily work on SEO day in and day out, but they need to have a good understanding of SEO. In that case, you might want to position your brand in front of that specific audience as more of a knowledgeable guide in the world of SEO. So you'll be speaking with much less technical jargon. You will be making sure that you provide more beginner friendly or layman friendly content, let's say. And you'll be making sure that you're saying to them, hey guys, we know SEO can be very difficult if you don't have the background, but we're here to help you and to serve you and to teach you how to do this and understand enough of it without being like a seasoned SEO professional to keep up with the newest SEO trends, let's say. So to these different audiences, you'll be presenting a slightly different face. you'll be presenting a slightly different component of your brand's ethos. And in that way, you can really create that direct connection. It frankly, it's sort of similar to what we do as people on a daily basis. Like, I am me, I am doing what I do day in and day out. But at the same time, whenever I'm speaking to, let's say, a technical founder who just wants some piece of marketing advice, and when I'm speaking to a fellow content marketer who is very deeply steeped into the world of content marketing, I will speaking to them in different languages, and I'll be presenting to them a different side of my professional,
Hmm.
characteristics, let's say. So this is what you can do to make sure that your brand resonates with these different audiences. You want to make sure that you're aligned in your communication. So rather than being, a bit schizophrenic and sharing a different thing every time someone speaks with you, you want to give them a consistent view, but you need to make that consistent look of your brand aligned with what that audience expects and wants to see from you, if that sort of
Hmm.
makes sense.
Yeah, we need to like um, talk in which they can relate.
Yes, yes, exactly. And
Hmm.
this means using the language that they might use.
Hmm.
This means, even sort of serving as almost like a mirror and
Hmm.
using phrases and terms that they would be using themselves, and then
Hmm.
building trust that way because we like people who are like ourselves. So, and
Hmm.
this is when we can make sure that we're building trust with that audience by being as close to them as possible.
Hmm. How much money does it require to get started with this?
Do you mean with branding in general, or?
Yeah, like let's take our last example. We are a SaaS company, and I want to market it. I want to do branding. So, how much money should I have in my pocket before I start thinking about it?
Well, frankly, like it's gonna be as big and ambitious, or as small and specific as you want it to be. And the beauty of this is that you don't necessarily need to spend a ton of money from the get-go. You need to spend a lot of effort and time on it, though, so I don't want to discount that. Building a strong brand really requires a lot of effort. But if we're talking about something like understanding what our best customers like about our product and making sure that our brand messaging reflects that on our, let's say, landing pages or our product's homepage, this is as simple as conducting a few interviews with your best customers and recording these and understanding what language they use, what phrases they use, and what they're actually saying. But
Hmm.
it can be as big of a project or smaller project in the monetary sense of the word as you feel comfortable with.
How to build a personal brand? Product should we build? Should we go on and a founder should build a personal brand?
Yeah. I think that definitely founders who have a strong personal brand can be a great asset to their company. I've actually worked with a few different clients of mine whose founders were very well known in the space, and this helped the product get an an infusion of trust, if you will, from that personal brand to the product itself. The way digital communication is going now, it's much more personally centric than it used to be. Let's say 5 years ago or something like that, if you had a Facebook page, which now sounds almost like an anachronism, but at that day, Facebook was really the biggest platform of choice. So if you had a Facebook page and you had your own personal Facebook profile, the two were standing the same chance of getting attention in the newsfeed, let's say. But nowadays, most social media platforms, they are prioritizing, heavily prioritizing content from people, from actual persons, and they are not showing as much brand related content that's coming from company accounts, company pages, and so on. So in that sense, there's even an algorithmically viable solution there to use your personal brand as the channel that builds up your product brand as well. And
Hmm.
you ask how to build a personal brand. Well, this is obviously something I can talk about at length, but the short answer for that would be to make sure that you're sharing both the personal and the professional side of yourself. You can be a professional expert in the field of business development, in the field of sales, in the field of growth marketing, maybe. And at the same time, you need to show people not just that professional expertise, you need to show them that you're a real person. You need to share with them when you're having a bad day, or when you're, exercising or spending time with your family, because that actually shows that you're not keeping something away, you're not hiding something from your audience. And this is what also helps in building that trust. So this connection between these two sides of yourself, this is a very big trust building factor. And this is something that every person who has a strong personal brand does in some shape or form. That doesn't mean to you need to necessarily keep this 50-50. You may be sharing like 80% of your content, which might be professionally related, and just 20% might be more personal stuff. You can put some barriers and say, okay, like I don't feel comfortable with talking publicly about this specific area of my life, and you might completely shut it off. That's completely fine. As long as you're sharing with people some sliver of your real life, that's already enough to work for building your personal brand as well.
And what's the easiest way to build a brand? Is it through content marketing?
To me, the one sort of area that's most helpful to building a personal brand is really anything that you do to create a value and to be helpful for your audience. So, in your case, you're obviously someone who relies on audio and video content a lot, and that's probably like the preferred channel that you're working in. So this is a great way to build a personal brand, because by sharing information from yourself and from other experts that you interview, this is a way to bring value to your audience and to share with them something that's going to help them become better experts and better founders. On the other hand side, you may be someone like myself who feels more comfortable creating content in written form. So the two channels I personally rely on are my blog and my newsletter. And this is where most of the ideas that I have are shared with the world. This is where I'm creating the most content. And it's all about what makes you comfortable, really, because I still think that building a personal brand is more of a, it is a business necessity by all means, but it's also more of a passion project. So you need to make sure that you're enjoying it, because otherwise it shows when you're doing something that feels like a chore. You're not as invested in it, you're not as excited. So
Hmm.
creating content that's helpful, this for sure is a very strong way to build a personal brand. And making sure that you're doing that in a channel and format that feels natural to you means you'll be doing more content and you'll be keeping up with a consistent content production schedule.
When should we start working on the brand? Like if I have just started and I am still into my products, I'm still, or if I'm a freelancer, let's suppose I'm a freelancer, and right now I'm getting my clients through let's say Fiverr or Upwork or LinkedIn, and I am not creating any content. So when should I dive into the content marketing part?
So, for a freelancer or for someone who's building a personal brand as part of their business, I'll for sure say that it's better to start off sooner rather than later, because even if you don't feel like a great expert who has a ton to share, you still have valid experiences that are going to be interesting to others. And through your work with your clients on, let's say, Upwork, you're learning new and interesting things that you might want to share with a bigger audience. And this is building that personal brand is going to help you get off of platforms like that or increase your rates quicker than anything else I can really think about. If we're
Hmm.
talking about building a brand for a product, though, I would be a bit more cautious, and I would say that for a company, for a product or a set of services, you first need to make sure that you have a product that's worth talking about, that's worth building a brand for. So I'm talking here about stuff like finding your product market fit, seeing some early traction. Um, I'd often see companies where, let's say, spending months and spending big bucks on hiring naming agencies to define what their brand should be called, or even investing crazy amounts of money into buying a domain that's very specific that they want to use. And yeah, in the long run, this is going to be important for you. But if you still don't have product market fit, maybe it's wiser to invest money and effort into finding that and ensuring that before you start building a brand.
With the advent of AI, how one can use AI to build their brand?
Oh man. I was just writing about that in my latest newsletter. I'm frankly looking at AI and branding as sort of this great space for opportunity that we have now. So on the one hand side, AI for sure is going to be a time saver for a lot of marketing work. So even if we're thinking about something as simple as creating a first draft or repurposing and reformatting content that you've already created, AI can be a great helper in that. For the most part, it's gonna save you time on the tasks that are easily replicable and mechanizable. And this saved time you can invest in actually being mindful about your brand. At the same time, the more AI stuff that goes out into the world, the more important having a human touch is going to be for a lot of people. Having that human side of your brand is going to get even more important, I might say, with the rise of AI. And when it comes to a personal brand, it also means that content that's just informative, it's going to be very easy to find, and there's going to be very high quality informative content out there. So if you're talking about something like um, what are the general components that you want to add in a target persona profile, a piece like that you can easily create just by researching what's already set out online and regurgitating that in a newer piece that's more structured, that has some examples in it and so on. But this is not going to be a differentiator anymore. Having well structured and detailed content is not going to be your differentiator. What's going to differentiate you from others is getting a personal point of view. So, adding a component like, here's my experience with building personas, here's what mistakes I've made in the past and what they've taught me, here is what was the process that we took with three different types of customers and how you might want to apply this in your own work. So having that personal element is going to be the actual differentiator for your content, and this is what's going to set you apart from others.
Hmm. And how you are using AI in your daily life, in your business?
Well, at the moment, I'm mostly having conversations with ChatGPT. I think I've been on a very steady streak for a few months already where I would find a task that I need some help with on a almost daily basis. And the few places where I get the most help is in brainstorming ideas for titles and headlines.
Copywriting stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice. And as a while building a brand, what do you think is the most common mistake that companies are making right now?
So I think that One of the things that I see a lot of companies do is to just um, play it as safe as possible. So they don't want to ruffle up any feathers. They don't want to create something that stands out, with the fear of standing out too much and being too divisive. And building a brand is really about having your own point of view. So if you don't have a point of view, if you don't have your own sort of brand voice, then you don't really have a brand. You don't have something that people are going to look at and think, oh, that must have been created by these guys because I know their style and that's exactly the style that they have. And it's different from the styles of any other player out there.
How can you help if someone wants to build a brand? Do you have a newsletter? You told me you have a newsletter or a course or a blog.
Yeah.
How can you help?
Yeah. So there are really three different levels in terms of my engagement with the project where I can be of help. The first one would be if you're curious about brand building, if you're curious about digital marketing and content marketing specifically, then checking out my website, my blog, and my newsletter is gonna be the best place. And maybe we can just add links in the
Yeah,
description here.
yeah.
And this is the content that's out there that I'm creating for everyone to use and interact with and hopefully enjoy. So this is like if you've heard this conversation and you saw something that sort of, piqued your interest, then subscribing to my newsletter will be a great place to start. I obviously work with companies in a consultant role. So if building a brand or building your brand messaging is something you're interested in, then hiring me for a copywriting project or a content marketing strategy might be a viable next step. And I'd love to chat with some of the people who are listening or watching this and who might be interested in working on that with me. And the third thing, which falls somewhere in the middle between these two ends of the spectrum, is a course I just launched a few months ago on content marketing and brand messaging. And this is a video on demand course that I've created where I've tried to distill all my knowledge around brand messaging and content marketing into something that's easy to digest, that's structured, and that, frankly, I would have wished to have a few years back when I was just starting to explore these topics. So this is a full on set. It's like the combined time is around 20 hours of content, but all of this is split into very manageable, easy to understand individual lessons. Where my goal was to have a video as specific and short for you to just watch it, hit play, and then within 1 hour to be able to put that into practice already in your day-to-day job in building your brand or in building marketing for a company you're working with. And as we were discussing in the preliminary conversation, we're gonna put up a promo code, which, if you're interested in checking out the course, there's gonna be a promo code specifically for the digital dollars audience that's also gonna give you a discount on that.
Thank you so much.
Sure, sure, my pleasure.
So the coupon code and all the relevant links will be in the description section below. And with that, I have one last question for you. If you want to start your branding game again, like let's suppose you are 5 years back, you are just starting, what would you do?
The first thing that I would do is to go out and meet people.
Hmm.
Because we're talking a lot about digital marketing and digital channels, but the truth is that to build a brand, you need to connect directly to see what people are interested in and how you can be of service to them. And that happens through direct conversation. So, going to networking events, going to conferences where I might meet people who are my peers and my potential customers, this would be the first place to go.
Hmm. Nice. Any last advice you would like to give for someone building a brand?
Well, I say start off wherever it feels comfortable. Frankly, like it might sound to a lot of people, building a brand is such a big phrase, big concept that it might feel a bit overwhelming, and people usually just come to me and say, hey, like there's so much that I want to do that I don't know where to start. So start off with one thing. Start creating content on one channel. Start speaking about one specific topic. Go to one event and see how
Mm,
it goes. And then step by step, the more you do, the more your appetite for brand building is probably gonna grow. And then you'll be able to, based on the information that's coming to you from your target audience through each individual piece of content or brand building campaign, you'll be able to improve what you're doing and you'll be able to do more. But gradual steps and one step at a
mm.
time is where we want
Start
to
taking
start.
action.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So that was a great podcast. Like I really enjoyed it. I'm sure many people would have learned a lot about branding from this podcast. So thank you so much, Vasi, and I'll probably meet you in the next WordCamp.
Yeah, yeah, I can't wait. And I really want to meet up in person as well. So thanks for the opportunity to share what I know. And I hope this was useful to people. And if you
Definitely.
want ever want to read or learn more or talk more, I'll be here waiting.